All right, section 4, or chapter 4, section 3, writing equations in point-slope form. So what we did last time was we wrote linear equations given either 1 point in the slope or given 2 points. This time in the first video, we're going to write equations of lines in what's called point-slope form. And again, just like slope-intercept form, point-slope form, the name says it all. If you have a point and you have a slope, you can write the equation of the line. And we'll talk more about that in the video. And then in our second video, we're going to write linear equations in different forms, like how do we go from point-slope form to standard form, or how do we go from point-slope form to slope-intercept form, and so forth and so on. Okay, it's very important to be able to transfer from those 3 different forms. We had standard form, slope-intercept form, and today we're going to learn point-slope form. All right, so point-slope form is the vocabulary. So let's talk about that. An equation of a line can be written in what's called point-slope form when given the coordinates of one known point and the slope. So if you are given the point and given the slope, you can write the equation in point-slope form. Or if you have enough information to get one point to get the slope, then you can write it in point-slope form. All right, so the formula for point-slope form is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. And in this case, x1 and y1 represent the point, the first point on the line that you know, and m is still the slope. And the x and y that don't have anything with them are the variables for the equation. So you're actually going to fill in the y1, the x1, and the m with the values that they are, and then that will be the equation. Okay? So let's go through an example of how to write and graph an equation in point-slope form. So I want to write an equation in point-slope form of a line that passes through 3, -2 with a slope of 1/4. Then I want to graph that equation. Well, they told me a point and they told me the slope. I don't have to figure anything out. I just have to plug those values into point-slope form. So there's point-slope form. I put in the -2 for y1. Now be careful here. It's subtracting y1, so you're going to have to subtract -2, okay? This one is subtracting x1, so you're going to have to subtract 3, and the slope is 1/4. If you simplify that a little bit, you would have y plus 2, because remember, you subtract a negative, it's the same as adding. So you have y plus 2 equals 1/4 times x minus 3, and that is in point-slope form. You don't have to solve it for y, you don't have to distribute the 1/4, you just leave it like that. Okay, so then to graph it, just like we graph from slope-intercept form, you graph the intercept and then use the slope as your directions to the next point. Here, you do the same exact thing, except you're not starting with the y-intercept, you're starting with the point they gave you and then go from that point and follow the slope as directions to your next point. Remember, slopes rise over run. So you start here at 3, -2, -2 rather, so you go over 3, down 2 to this point right here. That's the point 3, -2. Okay, and then the slope is 1/4, so you're going to go from there, rise 1 and run 4. So I go up 1 and over 4, put another point, and then I could connect those 2 points with a line. Okay, so pretty straightforward there. All right, here's one for you to try. Write an equation in point-slope form for the line that passes through -2, 1 with a slope of -6, then graph the equation. Go ahead and do that and pause the video. All right, we're back. So you should have y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, and the -2 is your x1, and the 1 is your y1. So it's y minus 1 equals -6 times x minus -2. And this y minus 1 stays that way. So it'd be -6 times x plus 2 because you're subtracting a -2. Okay? So the point is -2, 1. So you go to the left 2, up 1, put a point. And then from there you follow the slope. Now the slope, so this is the equation in point-slope form. The slope is -6, and what do we do when the slope is an integer? Right, you put it over 1. So that's rise over run. So when you rise -6, that actually means go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and run 1. So right there is our point. And then you can draw your line. Okay. Alrighty. Well, that's it for this first video on how to write an equation in point slope form and then graph that equation. Stay tuned for the second half of this video series. See you there.